space is open to us now. We go into space.
I've been holding my action. It's time to go.
Oh my. It's home, gentlemen. It's home.
It's been a long time since we've seen that. Let me there. So,
Wow.
yeah.
It's the entire world that you made that we never got to explore.
I mean, you guys explored
a little bit.
a
We explored a little bit.
good chunk of this world for like a year and a half prior to streaming. So this is the
Just for
world.
context, Steve spent several long hours creating a world that he planned to abandon.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. That's true. You know, but there was always the possibility of coming back to this world. I mean, obviously there are ties on this world and everything. So, initially, the way that this was set up is that there were two parties. One that was based here in the capital area, the great city of Renoa, and one that was based up here in the wasteland.
Wait.
The
Nectosha! I see Nectosha!
Yes, that's what I was just about to say. The map actually has some of the character names on the map to delineate areas where they are from. There was a character run by Garrett called
Still alive.
Nectosha, still alive, but
Maybe.
he didn't board the ship, so he didn't progress forward with the rest of the characters.
Speaking
So
of characters who are on this map who didn't board the ship, I see way down in the Hinlands Terry.
Terry, that's true.
Terry.
Timmy's
Terry.
brother who was smashed to bits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. So the two parties, the one from the capital and the one from the wasteland, eventually joined together under the, of course, we all know Captain Nova, right? Captain Nova is. That work? That did not work.
It didn't work.
Oh, because I have to do it over here. Captain Nova, of course. This guy right here. My bad Sean Connery impersonation. And Captain Nova's the seventh son of the Empire, of the Emperor of the Empire, the Renoan Novan Empire, which is where a lot of the story in the previous campaign took place. Once the party was all together, they ended up in. Let's see if I can even find it. Do I even have? I don't even know if I have the map anymore. But they ended up in Argyle's hometown of Plockton, which is like roughly somewhere about there, I think.
No.
Or wait, no.
It's up here
No.
where Argyle is actually named.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's up here. Yeah, okay, that's right. Argyle's up here. So the town of Plockton. In this town, it turns out that Argyle's father had discovered some secret in this wyvern cave that long before Argyle came of age, his father was disappeared. It turned out that he was turned to stone in this cave, and eventually the plot led to the joint party and Argyle following his mother to the Wyvern Cave to have conflict with the Wyverns. That was a nice fight where they had some Wyvern battle, and eventually it led to the mother singing this song that it was the group's destiny to kind of find a girl with the face, which was this face of this woman that kept popping up on various people throughout the adventure, and it was kind of a mystery, but it was the destiny of the group to seek this out. Now, at the end, Argyle's mother turned to stone with his father, and then they crumbled, leaving behind a little glass, kind of little crystal statue, which Argyle then took. Now, it was always the intent of Captain Nova, with the advent of the airship, which was a new kind of thing with the Empire, to create a large airship and journey out past the bounds of this continent that was kind of enclosed that you can see. And so he tasked the party with becoming kind of like the away team of this airship. He had seen what they were able to do, was confident in their abilities, and recruited them to be the away team. And then he was having dreams also of Argyle's mother. Oh,
Who was it?
he was. He was now. And through this, decided that he would call the ship the Destiny, and the airship Destiny set sail. Now, then there was the first season of our streamed show, where they went to the island. This is there's a little bit of the island. There's some more of the island. Oh, there we go. And this island was very strange, very weird. But it turned out that the island was inhabited by this entity. Who knows exactly what it was? Or the island itself kind of was the entity. There was an
A very
adventure
strange
there.
island.
Yeah, you can kind of go. You can go back and watch those early episodes. I don't know if I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I
They're,
think it
they,
was fun.
yeah, I mean they were cool, but the in that island, there was some conflict, and Anya, Dan's elfish character, uh, made some possibly poor decisions,
Yeah, yeah.
where she was she was impregnated by this entity, kind of
A
like Deanna Troy was impregnated
horrible way to
by,
put it.
yeah, kind of like the terrible episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation where Deanna Troy was impregnated by some weird alien thing that just kind of like, like flew into the ship. It wasn't a sexual thing, so get that out of your mind. It was more of a magic thing, but she ended up being pregnant with this thing, and they went on. Now, unbeknownst to the people on the ship, but the world that they lived on was not exactly as it seemed. And in fact, it had an edge, meaning that the world kind of ended at a certain place. And the Destiny found the edge. Now, they also found a worker named Jordan who was
One
very
day from
unhappy.
retirement.
One day from retirement, very unhappy to see them. He was just
Mm.
at his post, in this little stick that came up from the water on the edge of the world, um, minding the perimeter. And when the Destiny crossed the perimeter, Jordan's perimeter, of the Frobos Corporation, as we now know, it turned out that they were kind of in a weird legal entanglement in which they weren't able to go back to the world. And so it was cheaper and easier and in the Frobos Corporation's interest to just kind of build them a starship that kind of mimicked the the Destiny. It was kind of a futuristic version of the airship Destiny. And of course, that's where we first meet Matt. Matt was a Frobos technician who always dreamed of designing starships, even though he was basically an HVAC guy. And so they didn't have to pay Matt anything to design the Starship Destiny and to redesign the other ships that the other airships that they had come with. So there are Strikers, and then of course the Lucchesi, which was named after one of the party's early benefactors, and the Albatross, which was a ship owned by Ren that he had a custom made and then was converted into an airship. Um, and then of course the Explorer, which has been featured in many of our games. The Explorer being the primary exploratory vessel. Uh, Matt, of course, snuck on to the Destiny because his life as an HVAC guy, he was done with that. He wanted a life of adventure and excitement. And so when
And so
Frobos,
he hasn't left the ship since.
well, I mean, it hasn't been that long though, because unfortunately our adventures take much longer than in
Very,
real time than in
very long.
actual game time. So the amount of time that Matt's been on the ship has really only been like a month maybe. So Matt, of course, uh, the technical advisor for the Destiny out in space. Now, let's see. In the Destiny in space is
By the way, our heating and cooling on that ship is top
is
notch.
perfect, top notch.
Oh,
Now
what in the hell?
hey Solus, what the hell is Solus doing on there?
No idea, man.
Hang on,
Why is
hang on.
Solus like the top of some
He's
strange
huge.
looking dick there?
Yeah, so
He's the dickhead.
the
See,
they
and you see, the Destiny is heading toward the destination.
that is true. So it turns out that the crystal that was left behind by Argyle's parents was actually a star map. When analyzed by the computer of the Destiny, they realized that there was this star map, and they estimated that they would have to go something like 5 years. It was going to be a 5-year job, 5-year mission
Hmm.
to get to this destination. But one of the first places that they would have to go through was this quadrant of space that is run by the Simperian Overlordship, or more simply, the Sin. So as you can see, there's this down here is Frobos space. There's a little bit of a buffer zone. That's where you're in right now. But you have to go through Sin space. And it turns out that Sin space was once the Oron quadrant. So the Oron were a peaceful and benevolent people that ruled over the Oron system and protected their quadrant. And the Sin were a slave driving, cruel, overlordship of this crazy inbred madmen who just long for domination. They're your typical anime style villain. So think of the villains from like Voltron or any of those old shows where they're just bad for bad's sake. Um, I know that's very un
They're
PC and
bad.
unwoke of me, right? Because every orcs are good now, all this stuff, but no, we're throwing it back. These people are just crappy. Maybe even not all of them, but the people at the top definitely horrible. And
Just like in the real world.
so the uh, the ship in its kind of first little foray, in its first contact with people outside, uh, well, they come across uh, this unusual character, Drake Tungsten, and Drake, a mech pilot who was on this abandoned world, had his they they got a distress signal, and they went and they found this guy, and turned out that he was actually trying to pull a little bit of a shady move and steal some fuel, but he had good intentions. Because you see, Drake, along with his friend, uh, Guy,
Yep. Guy
used to
Fieri.
be
Sci-fi.
pilots for a heroic super robot team that defended the Auron system from the Sin, and and it was such a popular thing that they actually made a show about it. And a lot of the lore comes from the show. The actual events of the show, of course, they're dramatized, and they're only what was available in the public record, but it gives you kind of a good idea of what went on. And the events of the show take place between 5 to 10 years prior to anything else. So it's deep lore that goes all the way back. And we reference the show a lot, or I reference the show a lot, but we've never really gone through the show. So I think maybe that is what we're gonna do here, and um, that way everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows what the heck is actually going on. What happened with the Auron and the Sin? So let's see here, so that you guys are able to see it.
Oh.
Oh wait, that's not the right one.
I was like, oh, this is a new thing.
That's not the right one. Dang it. Uh, okay, so it's that one.
God.
So I created what I call the Genger 5 Super Show Bible. And we're going to go through it right now. Where the heck is Dan?
And
Right here.
So
I'm listening. I can hear everything, even if I'm not on camera. I can still hear you.
so there are 2 seasons of the Ganger Super Show, and obviously I didn't write out every single little detail. But what I did is I gave episode titles and episode descriptions. And these things are kind of what happened. Now, to give you a little bit of understanding of why this is important, is that Drake and Guy were stealing fuel because they ultimately had the goal to reform the Genger super robot, because after the events of this show, things went downhill, and we'll talk about that once we go through the show. But this is the Ganger 5 Super Show. So, Episode 1, Birthday Bash Surprise. Thrill Seekers, Drake Tungsten and Frazenbazer find evidence of a pending Sin attack while sneaking into the Royal Twins' 16th birthday bash on the planet Auron. Now, the Royal Twins are Marisol, who is a princess, and Rubicon, who was a prince. And they were the prince and princess, 16 years old. They had an older brother, Daniel, and their king, or their father, was the king. And he was the ruler of the Auron system. So basically, the first episode is about Drake and this halfling character, or Laputin, as in the galactic vernacular. Two friends, wild and crazy, just trying to sneak into this big party to like have fun and get laid and just whatever, do drugs, whatever. Just say that they were there because it's this big bash. Episode 2, Super Secret Science and Magic. With an attack imminent, King Braveheart urges genius scientist Dr. Light Brown and magician Victor Solostar to unveil the untested Ganger 5 super robot. So,
Dr. Light Brown.
yes.
So, folks, Steve just got canceled. just now, just letting you know. This is gonna be the first time, the first of many this particular session that he's gonna be canceled.
It's his name, not what he looks like. It's Laite Browne. Light Brown. He's got an anime name, man.
Yeah.
That's the idea, obviously. Right? So what happens is, obviously, Drake and Fizz find this plot that the Sin are planning to, mess up this party, and they...
Because that's how evil they are.
Exactly, of course. Now, Episode 3, Rise of Genger 5. Daniel, the oldest prince, Drake, Fizz, Guy, who was kind of an adopted into the Braveheart family, and Rube unite to pilot the Ganger 5 super robot to repel a secret invasion.
See,
Does it say Rub?
it really does.
It's fine.
It kind of does.
It's fine.
It's Drake, Fizz, Guy, and Rub.
Rub. I love that guy, Rub. Side tangent.
It's okay.
I decided to look into my snack box more.
Listen,
and
it's pronounced Rube, but whatever.
I'm calling him Rub in the future.
Yeah.
I have a little popsicle here. It's not a popsicle. A lollipop made of maple syrup.
Popsicle.
Ooh, maple syrup. That actually sounds really good, actually.
It's actually not bad. Not bad at all.
For those of you who don't know, because we weren't streaming that part, Cameron moved into a new place, and they left the mail behind, and one of the things was a snack box,
crate.
a snack crate. So He's chowing down on that snack crate left at his new abode.
Canada.
Episode 4, The Crown Prince of Hell. The team is formally introduced to Prince Lore, son of Overlord Rao, when he destroys a peaceful world. So, obviously, Prince Lore, if you've been watching, you kind of know that, we've talked about him before, but he's the son of the Emperor of the Sin, and he is vile. Episode 5, Long Hard Road. Do the Sin have unending resources? The Genger team questions the mission as Lore's attacks only increase. It's pretty generic. Death of Daniel.
Rub was featured highly in that.
highly.
In the long hard road.
Alternate episode title: Long Hard Run.
Long Hard Rub. Of course, a big one here. Death of Daniel the hero. That's episode 6. Prince Daniel dies in a struggle with Commander Crude after discovering a secret Sin base as Lore escapes again. So this is a sad episode where the head of the Genger 5 super team is killed, and of course the brother of Marisol and Rube, aka Rub, and the son, he's the crown prince, and he dies, and it's very sad. And of course, then we get the struggles of Guy Daigoshi. Guy struggles with the team's choice to put him at the head of the Genger super robots. Of course, we talked about Guy. He becomes the head, and then we have episode 8, Battle of the Beautiful Princess, with Daniel gone and Guy taking the head. Could the team find a new partner for Genger 4? Obviously, the new partner being the princess. Genger 4 Stolen. A handsome pilot appears on Auron who impresses everyone but Rubicon. I wonder why. Because he's a jealous bitch. The Land of Evil. Drake rescues a girl who apparently escaped from Sin, but not all is as what it seems. Now, a lot of these stories are just kind of weird filler, but I was having fun here. Cursed, Space Death. The team comes face to face with Space Death. And as you know, you have also come face to face with Space Death, as we've seen in our 2-part episode, Space Death. Check it out on YouTube right now. Episode 12, The Yellow Rain of Sickness. Commander Crude poisons the population of a border planet rich in natural resources. And then episode 13, Evil Doing of the Overlord. The Overlord has enslaved a planet to build him a statue for his 500th birthday, but a slave escapes to get help from Genger 5. Challenge from Space. Strange signals from the Owens system brings a mysterious energy. Fungal Forest of Fear. Fizz stumbles across the wild Sin plot while vacationing on the planet Shujurum. I wonder what he was doing there. Getting high as fuck.
I wonder what Steve was doing when he wrote that episode.
Episode 16. Goodbye, Auron? Lore unveils his massive death cannon. Could this really be the end, or is it just a distraction for the team? Tiny Shadows of Doom. Gibbet and Gobbet.
I'm sorry. He unveils his mighty death cannon. Who's the hero of that one? Rub.
Rub, definitely. So, in Tiny Shadows of Doom, Gibbet and Gobbet, who are little fairies that inhabit the castle, are the only ones small enough to stop tiny saboteurs in the Daniels castle.
Geldex better be encountering Gibbet or Gobbet in the near future.
It could happen. It's possible. Destroy the massive death cannon. Lore's massive death cannon has to go, so the team takes it out. They got to take
Rumble
out
leads
that
the way.
massive death cannon. Defeat the invisible foe. The team is attacked by mysterious invisible enemies on a routine patrol. And then the demon's birthday. Episode 20. The team takes the opportunity to bring the battle to Lore after answering a distress call. Fiery Sky. The Princess Marisol goes to Deerdrop Prime to address an environmental crisis. But all is not as it seems. Because
That's our woke episode right there.
exactly, yeah. Well, that's our environmental episode because back in the day, anime used to always have an environmental, either like an episode or like a movie. Do you remember Tree of Life, the Dragon Ball movie? It was all about like the environment, especially in the 90s. In the 90s, environmental episodes were all the rage.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Episode 22. Capture the Princess. Commander Crude captures the princess on Deerdrop and delivers her to Lore's new secret base in Oron space.
Where he's
Leading
going
in
to use his
massive death cannon. It was already destroyed though, so he's got to use his diminutive death cannon. Of course, episode 23, following from that, Dark Love. Another episode I'll get canceled for.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Marisol resists Lore's advances as the rest of the Genger team closes in. And of course, the final episode of the first season, a daring rescue, a terrifying escape. When Lore leaves Princess Marisol's side to deal with the Genger teammates, Marisol kills Commander Crude. So she's not just a princess, she's a badass too. She's a yes slay girl boss because, you know, it's 2023, so we got to put one of those in there. Of course, we've got some fun OAVs. Let's see. OAV 1, Beach Blitz. No rest for the weary because, again, you can't have an anime without a beach episode that doesn't have anything to do with anything else. So pirates attack Resort Asteroid Daryl, or RAD, while the Genger team just wants to relax. And then OAV2, More Than Meets the Eyes. Drake takes the new transforming robot Die Fighter, created by Dr. Light and Solastar, out for a spin. But maybe it's not ready. Or maybe Drake's just not ready, who knows. Then, of course, we get to Season 2. It starts off strong with the giant dreaded mech owlbear. Sorceress Garania creates a giant dreaded mech owlbear, titular, for Lore that just might be the end of Genger.
I definitely read that as gonorrhea.
You were supposed
Source
to.
of gonorrhea. Oh.
Yeah. She is the evil sorceress with kind of vagina magics that is the weird person that hangs out with the overlord, and you know, she like has a wicked laugh and big old boobies, as you know you would expect. Episode 2 of Season 2, 10 Million Ton Punch. Genger team trains hard after the defeat to face the dreaded mech owlbear once more. And then Frog Terror. Nurse Bibba's grandchildren bring tadpoles home from them to the castle, only to discover that they're from Sin. So Nurse
And
Bibba...
then Baby Yoda then eats those tadpoles.
Yeah, exactly. Nurse Bibba being the nursemaid of the children of Oron, so the you know Rub and Marisol's kind of nursemaid. Episode
Now
4.
these are adults, so like they
Well,
still have a nursemaid.
well, they just turned 16 like before, so they're adults, but you know, I mean, it's like the nanny character. Anyway, Demon Daniel, episode 4, of course, an important episode. An evil clone of Prince Daniel terrorizes the Genger team. And Space Demon Mirror Nightmare. The clone prince steals Die Fighter and challenges the Genger team with their own tech. Episode 6 of Season 2 is a little bit of a side story. It's Guy's story. While reminiscing with the team, Guy recounts the story of his illegal recruitment by the Star Alliance and how he became a reluctant hero. And if you're wondering, the story of Guy, it kind of mirrors the plot of The Last Starfighter. So, just in case you're wondering what that episode is about, it is about Guy getting recruited from his world, which is kind of an early 20th century world. He is from an analog of Japan, and he is a super video game fanatic that plays this arcade game so well that it turns out that the arcade game is actually a recruitment tool for the Star Alliance, which is
Wait a
on
minute,
the.
I've seen this movie.
You have. uh, you have been recruited by the Star Alliance to defend the frontier against Lore and the Simperian overlordship. Is what the game says when you walk up to it. And so uh, he is recruited in that way as a teenager.
All these ideas are very original, though. By the way,
Of course they are.
they're not original to us.
No, no, no.
Once upon a time, they were original.
But they are original.
I'm highly inspired by the things from my youth in order to create this world. But this is all stuff in the past, so it's a gravy. Derek Star Chaser and the Marauders, episode 7. Genger teams up with Derek Star Chaser, who we have seen featured in episodes. And the Marauders in his action-packed crossover to liberate the planet Nozama. So Derek Star Chaser, we'll see him again probably here very soon. Episode 8, Angry Youth Suicide Corps. When the Sin takes planet Nozama back after its liberation, 40 Sharl youths join together to try to take their home back at any cost. This is the Angry Youth Suicide Corps is actually the title of an episode of Go Lion that I loved so much that I just completely stole it.
It's a good title.
It's a great title. Season 2, Episode 9, The Oath. Drake never takes anything seriously, but would he leave the Genger team to keep a family oath? And No Tomorrow. With Drake gone, the team tries out a few replacements, but one of them is an assassin bent on ending the Genger 5 team.
Is that
11.
An assassin named Stephanie?
No, actually let's see. So isn't there don't I have the assassin listed on here in the characters? Maybe. 'Cause I have. Oh yeah, the assassin is Kilroy Phonic, a killbot disguised as a human. He's actually an assassin killbot bent on ending the Genger team's lives. So, And then of course, Killbots of Momokar. Guy and Fizz trace the assassin's origin to Momokar, where Lore has quite the army of killbots, so more than one. And then Steel on Steel. Drake shows up to Momokar with his brother Blake in tow to help the Genger team defeat Lore's killbots. Drake, of course, coming back into the fold. Then we've got 2 more fun OAVs. OAV number 3, Merry Oromas, Kitchen Castle Nightmare. It's Yule season on Oron.
But these aren't these are OVAs.
Yeah, he's been doing that. I was like, does he mean to do that?
The same thing, because back in the day, OVA and OAV were kind of this interchangeable. So, yeah, I'm just weirdly dyslexic. But yeah, either original video animation
Oh,
or
yeah, so they are.
original animated video is what an OAV. For anybody that doesn't, do they still do OAVs? Is that even a thing in anime?
Yeah, they do them for sure.
Yeah. So OVA or OAV is the acronym for a video of a. It's not a movie. It's not a TV series. It's usually like a released video on like
It's like a spin-off episode that doesn't really have anything to do with
a lot of times. Yeah, a lot of back in the day they were just like video cassette releases or whatever that they weren't aired on television, but they didn't come out in the theater either. Usually they were special. So in Mary Oromos Kitchen Castle Nightmare, it's Yule season on Oron, and the Oromos festival is kicking into high gear. But with Bibba sick, does anyone trust Rub to cook the feast?
Biggie and Rub. It's got Biggie and Rub in it.
And does anybody trust Rub to for the feast? I wouldn't. And then
I don't
of
know
course
about
I don't know.
OAV or OVA 4, Tungsten in charge. When Drake is left in charge of Oron Castle, all hell breaks loose. And I'll let you use your imagination. You've seen Drake enough to know what kind of things could happen. And then of course,
That's the rated R.
yeah,
OVA.
that's well, I mean, often OVAs were a little bit, because they weren't on TV and they were just video releases, they were a little spicier sometimes. So, that's how that goes. Continuing season 2, episode 13, the hypergravity astro kill trap.
Astro kill crap.
That Astro.
It do be doing that.
Kill crap.
It do be doing that. Sorceress Gonorrhea uses her powers to send a destructive asteroid with massive gravity on a collision course with the planet Notoween.
Oh, we don't know where that came from.
But it's Notoween. It's not,
Yeah.
No, it's
Never heard
no,
of
it's,
that one before.
it's not Notoween. It's not Tureen.
Not Toween.
It's not Toween.
Not Toween. Of course, Sand Planet of Death. When an asteroid weapon destroys one of Not Toween's moons, the Genger team has to think fast. And then Ocean Tomb of Genger 5. Colonel Khan traps the Genger 5 in an icy underwater prison, but has something special planned for the team. Another death cannon, perhaps?
Another massive death cannon.
Mm-hmm. Killer without a face. People are dying at the Hmong celebration on Zizan Wap. Is Fizz next?
Yo, that's like one run on. That is like there's no punctuation except for the end. It's like one run on sentence there.
One run on sentence of complete gibberish too.
What a beautiful.
Exactly. Blind Guy. Guy is blinded in a duel with the cowardly but vicious Colonel Khan, who is able to make his escape. Oh boy, oh brother. With Sin forces on the rise and Guy out of commission, Drake forms the head, and his brother Blake steps in to Genger 2. I did all this on purpose, obviously.
I know you did. Oh no.
I mean, we are dicks in the dark, so I tried to put as many like dick jokes in as I possibly could.
Another massive cannon there.
Yes. The Great Army of Darkness, episode 19. Thanks to Light Brown.
Light Brown is back.
Yes, and Solastar. Guy can now see better than ever. But a Sin army is on the rise, and it's massive. So that's when Guy gets his bionic eyes, which he has now.
Thanks to Light Brown?
Thanks to Light Brown. And
is that the only color he can see with his robotic eyes?
Yes, exactly. Just shades of brown. Episode 20, System on Fire. When the moon of Loxin Lilinsby, Kappa, is destroyed in the Sin-Auron conflict, the Prime Minister calls for peace, but is assassinated. And then Fury and Blood. Now this is all leading up to the finale. Things are out of control throughout the quadrant. The war has to end. King Braveheart makes a difficult decision.
He's going to pull out his massive cannon.
Oh yeah. The Great Storming of Sin. Genger 5 and the Auron fleet launch an offensive against the Sin homeworld. Desperate battle. Lore murders his father and that's misspelled. Ascends to the overlordship as he throws everything he has at the Genger
Yeah, it
5
is.
and Auron.
Yeah, it is.
And then
he attends.
finally, a princess's sacrifice. Lore makes his final stand. But will it also be the finale for an important member of the Genger team? And of course, this is when Genger 5 defeat the Auron and Prince Lore, but the princess makes the ultimate sacrifice. And we've got some characters here. Of course, we've got, Braveheart, Hogan Daniels. He is Auron's king, the buff and benevolent king of Auron. We've got some other people here. Khan Pectex. That's Colonel Khan. He's a cowardly but savage leader. Of course, Daniels is the prince. He is the original pilot of Genger 1. He forms the head initially, and he's the team leader, and literally he's the literal Onisan. Of course, we have Derek Starchaser, human from a neighboring sector, hotshot pilot and leader of the Marauders. Drake Tungsten, we know him, mech pilot, daredevil, ladies man, and everyone's best friend. Genger 2, Fizz, Genger 3. He's a halfling, or a Laputan as we say, hard living, freewheeling mech pilot. He's the life of the party. Guy, an enhanced human, of course, because of his eyes. He was initially Genger 4, and now Genger 1, or later on Genger 1. He's kind of a
Wait.
what?
Why is Gibbet and Gobbet? Why is there it's just their description is just fucking lol.
Yep. That's true.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. That's all you need to know. They're just little fairies, and they're the comic relief. But of course, Guy, he's a very he's like the MC protag, average guy turned hero. Really looked up to Dan. There's a scene where Dan is killed, and Guy goes Dan as it happens. Of course, we have Gorania Gorosa. She's a Sin. She is the Royal Sin Sorceress, and she is a thought with badge magic.
So Steve was just canceled again. Just letting you know that canceled Steve right there.
We of course talked about Kilroy Phonic. There's a crude dude who is a Sin. He's a commander of the Sin frontline forces. Lore's lackey, sadistic madman. Light Brown. He's the Auron.
Dude, we need to find that dude, and he needs to be permanently on the damn Destiny so that you can say Light Brown all the time.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna need somebody to rebuild this robot once you get the parts. So, Light Brown, the Auron Royal Super Science Genius Doctor. He's the best friend of King Braveheart, co-creator of the Genger 5 Super Robot. Of course, Lore Sin, we know him. He's the Prince of Sin. He is the insane inbred son of Overlord Raoul and his own deceased mother, Lore's grandmother, obsessed with Princess Marisol. So he was super inbred. Of course, we have Marisol Lachelle Daniels, Princess, Genger 4 pilot, feisty royal daughter, sister, demure but strong-headed, fearless mech pilot. Like I said, yes, queen, slay, girl boss. But
And
she died.
actually kind of dead.
Yeah,
Actually,
she died. You know.
dead.
Rao Sin was the emperor, obviously killed by his son Lur, as we saw above. Wicked slave-driving emperor of the Sin, causer of fear and suffering. Then we have Rubicon Richards Daniels, a human, the Oron Crown or the Oron Royal Prince, Genger 5, the left leg. He was in the yellow robot. He was awkward, a careful mech pilot, and a shy poet.
Mm.
Finally, Victor Solostar, human cyborg, Oron Royal magician and healer, with the Oron Royal family for 7 generations, more machine now than man, and co-creator of the Ganger 5 super robot. So that is,
I
of
have a question.
course,
I have a
that.
question about.
Yes.
I have a question about the final episode because
Hmm.
we would have all watched this.
Yes.
Okay. So the final episode, uh, the princess sacrifices herself, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a very important thing for all of us.
Okay. I'm not sure if this is going to be serious or not, but
This is actually kind of serious.
okay. Okay.
This is actually a very serious thing.
All right.
Was there a body?
No. She was blown
Okay.
up. She was blown up.
Okay.
He's
So
still out there.
that's the thing. Okay, unless there's a body, no one's ever really dead. So that's
Somehow
kind of
Palpatine returned.
right. So that's kind of like why I asked, if there
Mhm.
was like I didn't want to ask if there was a funeral because probably there was a
Of
funeral.
course, there was a
But
funeral. Yes.
but what I wanted to know is there a body?
Yeah, yeah. There was no body because basically she was blown up.
As far as we know.
As far as anybody knows, and
Okay.
as far as you know,
Okay.
the
And
the
that's not a spoiler, guys. That's just something that I wanted to know because it's an anime thing.
true, true.
It is kind of an anime thing. Yeah.
So yes, there was no body. Uh, so she was blown up. Now, let's
I
see.
ain't got nobody.
Exactly. So I've got a couple things here. So we do have the princess. If you want to see the princess, this is an image of the Princess Marisol who we're talking about, who died in the final episode. We also
Allegedly.
have the king
Oh
of
my god.
Oron,
Oh my
who
god. Oh my god. Holy
yeah, this is
shit.
Braveheart Daniels, the king of Oron.
No, no, that's Hulk Hogan.
Oh God.
We've got Lorison here. He
Oh,
the
somebody just. Did, oh,
What's up?
or did you close something? Because I thought I
did
heard
I?
somebody
No,
drop.
I joined the stream to look at
Oh, maybe that's
what
what it
the
was.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. We've got of course there's Derek Starchaser. You've seen him before. Uh, and yeah, we already had Guy on there. So just
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What about light brown? Do you have a picture of light brown?
I do not have a picture of Light Brown at this moment,
And I
All
or
right,
wonder
all
or
what he
right.
could look
Victor.
like.
Come on now. Come on now. You gotta get a picture of light brown.
Yeah, maybe at some point. If I plug in the words light brown person into an AI, it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good, guys. So, that was basically the events that happened, you know, leading up, of course, at the time that all this was happening, your characters were all back on their home world, which we saw before. Some of them were children, really, because again, this took place, 5 to 10 years ago. I think Argyle would have been like 8 years old at the beginning of,
Yeah.
all of this stuff. But they were living their weird little medieval lives, and
Had no clue about
had
light brown.
had no clue about any of this stuff. In fact. Uh, Now, I don't have anything to necessarily share with this, but let me see. So, what we know from Guy and Drake is that some things developed after the events of this show. And what happened? Well, obviously after Marisol dies in the final confrontation with Lore, and he also dies. They both are killed. She sacrificed herself to save the team. It turns out that Rubicon, uh, who was he might have actually been a little bit obsessed with his own sister, and he
His
might
own
also
twin sister.
his own twin sister, and he might have also been a little bit crazy. Just after the events of the show, uh, he kills his father, King Braveheart, who we saw, and declares himself King of Oron, but also the newly incarnate Simperai, literally the reincarnation of Prince Lorcock. Somehow convinces enough Simperai of this to rule their overlordship, likely because Lore killed his own father, and that is kind of a thing in Sin culture just before coming to the final confrontation. And the people of the Simperian overlordship, they value pure blood and inbreeding and all that stuff because they're just crazy and fucked up. And so um, there's kind of a little known prophecy about this new ruler, and Rube kind of convinces the some of the Sin that he is the one. Um, Within a year, Rub is crowned Emperor Rube Koch Marisolov Darkstar Oblivia the First, and he now rules over the area that used to be the Oron system, the Oron quadrant. He subjugates his own original people, the Auron people, and things just didn't go well. And that's kind of what leads. That's kind of what leads Drake and Guy to, you know, they're in bad shape. The Genger, they're scattered, nobody even knows where Fizz is. And the different ships that made up the Ganger 5 super team are kind of in various places, which brings us to our peoples. Um, it brings us to the planet of Sharahin. Isn't that right? Sharahin, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And on the planet, the party, they meet Gigi with some shenanigans there. Again, you can watch. We've played through this, so there are many episodes leading into the Space Whale saga, TM, and they meet Gigi, a proprietor of GG's, and she has information about a group of slavers called the Karin, who are cyclopses that that often come to this world, which is a Sharl world or an elven world, to gather Sharl slaves. And it turns out that these car enslavers are in possession of the ship that was Genger 2. So the team comes up with a plan in order to try and get, or actually it wasn't GG that had the information. It was, where'd that information come from? Damn, it's been so long. I'll have to go back to the VOD because they already know that. It might be, maybe they get that information from Drake and Guy, and then GG just knows where the Karin are. That's what it was. GG just knows where the Karin are because they
What
come to this
information
planet.
is in question? I missed what the information was. I'm sorry.
The how they know the Karin have Ganger 2. Because remember, that's the whole kind of focus of the Space Whale saga is the party makes a deal with Gigi where they will do a mission for her to go on to Space Whale to get this artifact that she has been stolen from her family, and she will then give them information about where and when the Karin are going to show up so that the Karin who are in possession of Ganger 2, you can go in and, mess them up and steal the ship back. And it would be the first piece of the Ganger 5 super robot. But it's been so long since we played that I don't specifically remember, but I feel like the information had to have come from Drake and Guy. I think that's what
probably.
it is. Yeah.
I don't assume where else would we get the information from.
Exactly. So that is of course GG, and then there is the Space Whale saga in which the party decides to impersonate various or come up with various aliases to go onto this big party ship run by the Baron Stahl. Of course, that's where we get Space Whale, the luxury ship run by this weird metal man guy. They're able to capture this or steal this artifact and get out, and of course that leads us really to where we are, because after the events of Space Whale, in which the team met Derek Starchaser, this is his yacht here, and that is where we are. Well, I think that is all for us. I don't know if anybody joined us tonight or not, but
yeah, there's some people in here. Big Papa's always here.
Hey, Mike, what's up? Definitely.
We got AOK, Alicidra, Draftsnat,
our typical
Kata,
bots.
And Lurk. Yeah, typical bots.
Yeah, typical bots. Well, thanks for joining anybody that did. And we have been the Dicks in the Dark, and we'll be back with more actual game next time, and hopefully Jay will be around and we'll get into it. I'm excited because I do have some stuff planned, and it's gonna be good. So later.
Until next time.
Don't forget Light Brown. See you later.
Don't forget Light Brown.
He'll be back. Come on.
He'll be back.
He's making a reappearance.
True.
Let's not kid ourselves here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
you're canceled, and we're out.
Hey there. This is Garrett from Dicks in the Dark. Check out our live stream every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't worry about missing a stream. The VODs are uploaded to the YouTube channel the following day. Check out the links in the description below.